Teleportatum.
Ah, come in.
Excuse me, Professor Pughorn. I was just wondering if I could ask you a question.
Of course, my boy.
Well, I was in the library the other night, in the restricted section, and I read something rather odd about a bit of rare beef farming. It's called, as I understood it, double-muscled beef. I came across the term while reading, and I didn't fully understand it. How does it occur exactly? Is it hormonal?
Gosh, Larry, that is quite a stretch from the syllabus. Double-muscled beef actually has nothing to do with hormones. The condition occurs due to a mutation on chromosome 2, where there is a deletion of nucleotide 11 in the third exon of the myostatin gene, resulting in a frame shift of the genetic code. The frame shift on chromosome 2 cuts off a section that codes for the myostatin protein, which is a negative regulator of muscle growth.
I must have slept in that class. What's a frame shift?
Here, let me show you a diagram.
Here, the mRNA is coded correctly for the myostatin gene, which produces this sequence of amino acids. However, as you can see in the deletion here, the G from the sequence above has been removed and caused the whole sequence to shift up one nitrogenous base pair. This results in a different sequence of amino acids, which in our case, it results in a premature stop codon.
So deletion causes a change in the order of nitrogenous bases.
Exactly. So when the mutated mRNA for myostatin reaches the ribosome for translation, the sequence of amino acids is altered, which results in a premature stop codon.
What happens when production of the myostatin protein is disrupted?
When the gene controlling myostatin is disabled, the muscles increase in size predominantly due to hypertrophy, which is an enlargement of existing muscle fibers. However, hyperplasia, an increase in the number of muscle fibers, has also been recorded in double-muscled beef cases.
So it only affects Belgian blues?
No, Belgian blues have been selectively bred for the double-muscled trait. However, Piedmontese cattle and many other breeds can also be affected by the condition. There are so far 9 different mutations in the myostatin gene that causes double muscling in a range of breeds.
Oh. So how is this condition inherited?
Double-muscled beef is a recessive condition inherited autosomally as the muscular hypertrophy gene, meaning it can affect either sex. The condition can only occur when progeny inherit a recessive M allele from either parent. This means that both parents have to be either a carrier or affected with the double muscles. Let me show you using a cross.
See here, we have a parental cross between a homozygous parent dominant for normal muscle growth and a homozygous parent recessive for the double muscle growth. This parent cross results in 100% of the progeny produced will be heterozygous dominant for the normal muscle growth. You then cross this with the homozygous recessive for the double muscle growth, and the F2 progeny will be 50% heterozygous dominant for the normal muscle growth and 50% homozygous recessive for the double muscle growth.
It's only guaranteed that the progeny will be double muscled if the parents are both homozygous recessive for M gene?
Exactly. Let me show you the line of inheritance using a Belgian blue pedigree chart to show you how the trait is selectively bred.
Here we have the first generation with a carrier female crossed with an unaffected male. If generation 2 had 4 offspring, the results would be 1 carrier. Here we see it is a male, but as it is an autosomal gene, it can be inherited by either sex. As you can see, this male carrier is crossed with an affected female, the offspring from the cross between 2 carrier parents. This cross here created 2 carrier and 2 affected offspring in the 50-50 ratio that I spoke about before.
Now that you've seen the genetics, I recommend you pay Slugwat's gamekeeper, Mr. Bagrid, a visit to gain a more practical view on the matter.
I'll see him right now.
No worries, Larry, see you.
Teleportatum! Professor Bagrid, Professor Pughorn sent me to ask you a question.
Oh, Larry, my boy, how you doing?
Good, thanks, Professor Bagrid. I was wondering if you knew anything about double-muscled beef?
Double-muscled beef? Who told you about that kind of outrage? Where are you getting your heads filled with these kind of lies?
Professor Pughorn told me it occurs due to a spontaneous mutation in the myostatin gene.
Codswallop. Professor Pughorn is a Slugworts teacher, and they're known to dabble in hormone supplements in their livestock production. The poor double-muscle cows must suffer from joint injuries and infertility issues such as reduced semen quality. 90% of their purebred breeding cows need to have cesareans due to having enlarged fetuses, and many of their calves are also affected by having enlarged tongues and respiratory issues, which makes it difficult for them to suckle when they're young. It's just not right. Lab testing and playing with animal genes, it's just meddling in things that are unhelpful, and it's also unethical.
Sir, the condition came about through a naturally occurring mutation and is only artificially selected by farmers. That's the same as breeding your best bull that has high growth rates, high fertility and excellent conformation in hopes to pass those traits to its progeny. Isn't this large-scale variation in chromosome 2 just the same as an evolutionary process?
Guess that is true, young Larry, but all the negative impacts on the cattle's well-being makes it a deleterious allele. The deformities and difficulties in calves, and not to mention the high metabolic demand of these animals, makes it an absurd method for beef farming.
But I also read that crossing pure bulls with other breeds has proven to reduce the risk of deformities, and despite their higher muscle mass, cattle with double muscles have a lower appetite, a higher feed conversion ratio, which enables the cattle to produce a larger output of expensive cuts, and have a lower proportion of subcutaneous fat.
Maybe I have my facts wrong on this double-muscled beef phenomenon.
To summarise, doubled muscle beef isn't to do with hormones. Instead, it's a nucleotide deletion in the myostatin gene causing a premature stop codon. The myostatin protein is a negative regulator of muscle growth, so hypertrophy occurs. The condition is classified as autosomal recessive. The advantages to breeding double-muscled cattle can naturally achieve the mutation by selective breeding, feed less and still have a better feed conversion ratio than normal, lower subcutaneous fat levels and more meat to sell. The negatives include risk infertility, joint issues, enlarged fetus size, birthing issues and calf issues, reduced semen quality. But keep in mind that some of these issues or risks can be eliminated or reduced through breeding with other breeds.